welcome back to the channel here, and welcome back to another video. So today, getting gassed up, gonna go meet up with James. We're installing lowering springs on his 2020 S550. He's had them now for a while. He just wanted to wait a little bit till the weather got a little bit cooler. So I'm about to go head down to his house down in Irving. I believe it's where he's at. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long. We're just doing the springs pretty straightforward. But something's had for a while. We're just gonna throw them on the car, and then after we throw them on the car, we're probably gonna take the car out for a drive and see how it handles. But before I go any further, I'm inching closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you could do me a favor, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, because as soon as I get to 1,000, I'm doing a giveaway. Tell you what though, couldn't ask for a better day. It's early November, and it's gonna be like, it's gonna top out to about 80. And actually for the next few days, it's gonna be about low 80s in November, but it won't last long though. We're looking, next weekend we're looking at like low 60s for highs. I spy Mustang. Come on, James, wash your car. Look at this, man. Wash your car. It's dirty. Yeah. So what kind of springs are they? Did you get?
I think they're either iBox or BMRs.
All right, let's look. The iBox are red. Let's look.
It's been a while since I looked.
Oh, these are red. Oh, they are. Oh, they're BMRs. Okay. Do you know what the drop's supposed to be in these?
I think they're about an inch and a half.
Okay. That's about all you need on this thing.
Yeah.
So he has a 2020 Performance Pack. It doesn't have the MagnaRide, which is good. I thought the Performance Packs came with MagnaRide.
You can get the MagnaRide,
But yours, it doesn't have it.
correct?
Okay, so that was gonna make things a lot easier. So this.
Actually, I think it's the Performance Pack 2 that gets MagnaRide.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't already have a lot of gap, so it's gonna clear all this gap. So we got about, I don't know, 2.5 fingers in the front, and the rear is like exactly 2. So he's not gonna have any gap out of whatsoever. So the springs he got are gonna be probably perfect for the amount that we need to drop it. Now, if you went with iBox, I got the sport lines on mine. Those drop at like 2 inches.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go that low. So
Well, and I'm sure you driving over here, you noticed all the bumps in the road, and
especially pulling off the freeway and getting over here.
that's kind of
sketchy.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical. Like, man, do I want to drop it that low? Because I remember the Shelby. I mean, everybody saw the ride high on that thing, and it would bottom out sometimes.
That had a massive fender gap in that thing. So we're not dealing with anything that crazy. All right, so I got my jack and jack stands. We're gonna get this. Do you want to do the fronts first and get that out of the way?
Yeah, I think we could probably tag team the front.
Okay, we'll each do a side if you want to. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get everything out, start in the front. So the 2018s on up have that nasty valve cover. He took that thing off shortly after he got it, so makes it look 10 times better just by taking that off.
Why would anybody want to hide
Your V8?
This beautiful.
It's just ugly. It's just that flat looking. But anywho, so we're obviously starting here with the front. I'm not going to do a whole step-by-step process because there's 1.5 million videos on how to install springs. So I'm not intending to be one of those. But then again, the step-by-step process to this is pretty easy and it's pretty straightforward. All right, we got one of the BMRs on, so that's out of the way, it's done. But for anyone that has to rent a spring compressor, I don't recommend these. These are just a pain in the ass. They're just hard to use, and the placement of them to put over the factory spring to compress it down. There's just a lot better options out there. We just we didn't have one, so this is all we had to use. So
let's emphasize on the shocks or the struts. This really gets in the way of the placement of these.
That's why they're a pain in the ass.
Makes it really tough to get on there.
Yeah, so that's kind of a pain in the ass, but at least we got one on. We're gonna obviously repeat the same process with that one. So
if whenever anybody ever does any of these, make sure you leave one of them completely intact as a reference.
So you know how to put everything back together properly.
Yeah.
So everything is, you know, it's lined back up properly the way that it is. So yeah, so as you said, just leave one completely intact so you can use that as a reference. Almost done with the second one. So we got everything in line.
Ladies in first.
Like I said, these spring compressors are just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, they total garbage.
Good?
That's it.
Alright. When in doubt, just beat the shit out of it.
When in doubt, beat the shit out of it.
This thing got wedged like right up there, but we got it out, so we're good. This one over here. Okie dokie. Driver's side is in, getting everything put back together and bolted up. So when torquing these back down, they're 46 foot-pounds, so that's equivalent to about 4 or 5 Uga. So 46 foot-pounds when putting those back on tight. All right, and then so for the shock mount bolts, these big ones right here, those are 184 foot-pounds of torque. So, but with as big as that is, you're gonna probably run into issues with clearance, with space. How are you going to fit that in there?
Carefully.
I mean, we could turn the steering wheel, but that's not only going to give you so much space. So that's an issue you're going to probably run into. Yeah, see, it's not a lot of room. So situations like that, we're just going to use the impact and just hope for the best. That's not like enough. Okay, so front and everything is all buttoned up, put back together. Now, since these springs are just installed, has to settle obviously a little bit. So from right now, it doesn't look much lower than the factory ones. But I mean, mine was the iBox Sport lines on the GT500. Those probably, after I put those on, they probably dropped down like maybe another 1/4 of an inch. So I told them to give it like a day or 2, 3 days or so. It'll probably settle maybe another 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch lower than what it is now. So prepping the back end, I don't perceive that taking as long as the front did. So
to remove the bottom, we got to remove this for the brake line. There's this big bolt here. There's one up under here that you can't see.
yeah.
And there's 2 right here for this bracket.
And what size are those?
These are size, that's a 21 for the big ones.
Okay.
And for the little ones, I think they're 15 millimeter.
Okay. Yeah, and all we got to do is just undo those to drop this down, just to release the spring. That's all we have to do. Can't imagine that would take as long as the front. The fronts took us just under 2 hours to do each side, because those spring compressors that we have are just a pain in the ass. So once we're done with either side and we put everything back together, we're going to take this thing out for a drive just to see how it handles, just to compare the ride quality of it, the stiffness and stuff like that, to see how that is different from factory. And we may do a pull or two. All right, so I'm underneath the car just to show you. We got everything loose and out of the way, but just to let you guys know, let me see. This one right here is a little bit of a pain in the ass to get to because of the exhaust and everything in the way. So you did get that loose, right?
Yeah.
You broke it loose? Okay.
Yeah, so I got...
And what size was that when you said?
That's a 21.
Okay, so just keep that in mind when you get under there. Cause...
Make sure you have an extension.
Okay, so for the rear, we just got passenger side out. And it is lower for sure. But let's see here. Like I said, it's gonna compress itself and it's gonna settle after a while. Yeah, that's about an inch lower.
So what we found out, trying to get that sucker out. So Aaron put a pry bar under here.
Yeah.
Where'd you have it at? Like right here?
Yeah, it was about right there.
So he was prying down on it. And so what we found out is
you need to twist this,
turning the spring
and rotating it.
Yeah.
As I press down on the pry bar to release the pressure. So we're trying to like manhandle this damn thing, trying to get it out. And turns out you just gotta put a little bit of pressure on it and just twist it.
So
and it just slides right out. We made it much more complicated than it had to be.
And they didn't show that in the video either.
Yeah, so
video reference. But
we got it done. So one side's done. We'll throw that bad boy back in there and then get started on the driver's side. All right, we are done all the way around with the BMR springs. So this is the last slide we just did. Now I know this is gonna settle a little bit, but I think at the start of this, it was about 2 fingers. This seems a little bit tighter than with the factory spring. So mine, like I said, it's settled about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. I think this will do about the same, but to be honest, from my eye, it doesn't look too much different than the factory spring. But when comparing the two, the BMR was about 1 inch shorter than the factory one. So that will compress a little bit. Same with the front two as well. So, but we're just cleaning everything up, and then we rented the spring compressor, so we're gonna take this thing out for a rip, see how it handles, maybe do a pull or two on the way there. And then, yeah, just see how this thing handles. All right, so we're out. Take this thing just for a spin real quick because we got to go return the spring compressor, all that kind of stuff. So how does it feel compared to the factory springs? Does it feel any different at all whatsoever? Does it feel stiffer?
Feels a little bit stiffer.
All right.
I think you can feel the bumps a little bit more than...
It does feel bumpier because I was in this thing when you first got it. We did a video talking about that when you first got this car. I'll put a link to that. Oh, put a card for that up here. Make sure you check that out also as well. He sold his GT500 for this, so check that out. But yeah, it does feel stiffer, which is expected for springs. So once we take this thing and return the compressor, maybe we can find a back road or two.
Yeah.
All right. Since it does feel a little bit smoother, we're about to hop on the highway here. How did the corners?
We're gonna hit this
right there.
Here.
Okay, we're gonna hit a little stretch.
This is this road I've been telling him about. It's perfect for drag racing.
In Mexico.
In Mexico.
Yeah, we took a trip down here in Mexico.
Ready?
Yep. This little area you could just loop back around and come back over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I might have to make a few trips down here. So it feels smoother, but how does does it feel any different at all?
I mean, on a straight, no, it doesn't feel different. Doesn't feel different on the straight.
No, all he's done is the springs. He hasn't done any like sway bars or anything like that. It's just the springs. That's all he's done so far. So we're gonna loop back around.
Let that semi get ahead a little bit.
No federales, you're good. So when he goes for a tune, I recommend him to go either, he was saying about either Lund or Palm Beach. Either of those two I would probably say would probably be your best bet.
Yeah.
He's thinking probably going to go with a Lund. I personally haven't had either. I've done VMP and HPP racing. We're going to go back around again. Nothing seems like it's loose. I think we tightened everything up.
Yeah.
We didn't put everything back on correctly. We didn't lose any nuts. We didn't lose any bolts. I think we're good there. So.
No bolts, nuts stripped.
Yeah. Usually you lose at least one bolt, one nut, so you strip something. I almost lost one in the engine bay. Luckily he found it for me. All right, so we're getting back to his house now. I'm gonna go ahead and close this up and wrap this up. I'd say I probably took like what, a good solid 3 hours.
Started at what?
We started at like 10:20. We got done at like 2:30, so around 3 hours. We did take a break in between. Springs aren't that complex, front and rears. About 3 hours, and that was taking a break in between. But anyway, I'm going to conclude this and wrap this up. If you guys are watching and you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll catch you guys next one. See ya.
Peace.